Welcome to A Story Apothecary, a podcast filled with medicinal and healing stories. My name is Nana Timova, and I'm a storyteller and a pharmacist, and stories are medicines which I dispense. In this podcast, you will find my prescriptions of stories for the body, mind, heart and soul. So I invite you to join me as we enter the healing world of stories together. Hello everybody and welcome to another episode of Story Apothecary. I am recording episode 8 and it is mid-August and it's really exciting to share some more stories and some news with you. And I know I have a few new listeners, so I'm just going to reintroduce myself. So my name is Nana. I am a storyteller and a part-time mental health pharmacist. And this podcast is the merging of two paths. So I wanted to create medicine for the heart and the soul, and this is my offering to the world. So it's my creative place where I choose the stories that tug on my heartstrings, and I think that the world needs to hear, or the stories that I dream about, or the stories that I remember whenever I do things or hear things, and I love sharing them with you. And I love hearing you share insights from those stories. So do carry on doing that. It keeps me going. And I've been busy for the last 20 or so days launching my crowdfunder. I know some of you have supported it and thank you so much. It's a crowdfunder for a mental health storytelling project. So this project will tell the narratives of real people's journeys of psychosis and of medication and of mental health. And these are the stories which people who are interviewed as part of a research project, my research masters, they told me. And aside from publishing into a journal and speaking in conferences, I wanted to do it in another way. I wanted to share those narratives through the medium and the power of story. So this is what my crowdfunder is about, and I've been really moved by some of the comments and the warmth that people have given me and mentioned on the page. It's been so heartwarming. Thank you so much. Well, today's story and the choice of today's story was influenced by the fact that I went blackberry picking yesterday. I've been walking, and I've been leading some storytelling walks, which is another thing that I love to do in the South Downs near where I live. And as we were walking, we were eating the blackberries, which are a lot of more ripe at the moment because of the hot weather that we've had. And so I went blackberry picking with a big tub, and I spent a few hours outside just before the storm hit for the very first time. For the last few weeks we've had no rain, and yes, I filled a tub and I was very controlled. I didn't need any while I was picking, and then they were made into a apple and blackberry crumble, which I enjoyed with vanilla ice cream yesterday while listening to storytelling. It was wonderful. So this is why I wanted to tell the story, because it involves blackberries. Now, this story is a Celtic story. It comes from Ireland. And I love this story. I think it's really lighthearted and funny and odd, with some serious elements to it. And I still think it contains a lot of wisdom. And it's about two Irish friends. They have a very odd friendship. And I wanted to make sure that I knew how to pronounce their name. So I asked my friend Sinead, who's Irish, and she sent me a recording of their names. So thank you, Sinead. It's the worst thing is getting something wrong when telling a story. So I hope you enjoy the story of Munachar and Manachar. So there once lived two friends. They were called Munachar and Manachar, and they lived so long ago that if they were alive now, then they wouldn't have been alive then. And they had very different temperaments, but they did spend a lot of time together. And one day, a summer's day like today, they went blackberry picking in the brambles with a big wicker basket. And as many as blackberries as Munachar picked, Manachar ate. Munachar picked and Manachar ate. Munachar picked and Manachar ate. And this carried on and on and on. And the basket, it had blackberry stains for where they landed, but it was empty, completely empty. Munachar was livid. "Stop eating my blackberries, Manachar," Munachar would say. "Well, they're not yours," said Manachar. "They belong to the brambles, and I can eat them as I please." And this argument carried on until Munachar could not stand it any longer. And so he took off. He went to look for a rod. He went to look for a rod to hang Manachar on. This is how upset he was. And so he walked, and he went to a tree in the woods, a big ash tree. "Hello," said Munachar to the tree. "Well, hello," said the ash tree. "What's the news today?" "It's my own news that I'm seeking," said Munachar. "I want a branch from you, please, if I may, to make a rod to hang Manachar with, because he ate all my blackberries." "Well, that's all fine," said the ash tree, "but if you want a branch to make a rod, you need an axe to cut me down with." "All right then," said Munachar, and so he carried on, and he found an axe. He said to the axe, "Hello, axe." "What news today?" said the axe. "It's my own news that I'm seeking," said Munachar. "I'm looking for you, an axe, to cut a branch, to make a rod, to hang Manachar on, because he ate all my blackberries." "Well, you won't get me," said the axe, "until you find a stone to sharpen with." And so Munachar went to look for a stone. He found the stone. "What news today?" said the stone. "It's my own news that I'm seeking," said Munachar. "I'm looking for a stone to sharpen the axe to cut a branch, the branch to make a rod to hang Manachar on, because he ate all my blackberries." "Well, you won't be able to sharpen the axe with me until you find some water to wet me with." And so Munachar went on, looking for water. After much walking, he reached a pool. and the pool spoke. What news today? Said the water. It's my own news that I'm seeking, said Munachar. I'm looking for water. Water to wet the stone, with which to sharpen the axe, with which to cut a branch, with which to make a rod to hang Munachar, because he ate all my blackberries. Well, you won't get me, said the water, until you find a deer who will swim in me. And so Munachar carried on. He came to the deer. What news today? Said the deer. It's my own news that I'm seeking, said Munachar. You see, I'm looking for a deer to swim in water, water to wet a stone to sharpen the edge of an axe to cut a branch to make a rod to hang Munachar with, because he ate all my blackberries. You won't be able to get me, said the deer, until you find a hound who will hunt me. And so Munachar went looking for a hound. He came to the hound. What news today? Said the hound. It's my own news that I'm seeking, said Munachar. I'm looking for a hound who'll hunt a deer, who'll swim in the water which will wet the stone, which will sharpen the axe, which will cut down the branch, which will make the rod to hang Munachar from, because he ate all of my blackberries, every last single one of them. You won't get me, said the hound, not until you find a little bit of butter to put in my claw. And so Munachar carried on until he came to the butter. What news today? Said the butter. It's my own news that I'm seeking, said Munachar. I'm looking for butter to go in the claw of a hound, the hound to hunt the deer to swim water to wet the stone to sharpen the axe to cut down a branch, the branch to make a rod to hang Munachar with, because he ate all of my blackberries, which I spent hours picking one by one. Very well, said the butter, but you won't get me until you will find a cat who will scrape me. He found the cat, a big fat ginger cat. Meow, said the big fat ginger cat. What news today? It's my own news that I'm seeking, said Munachar. I'm looking for a cat to scrape butter to go in the claw of a hound to hunt deer to swim in the water to wet a stone, the stone to sharpen the edge of an axe, the axe to cut a branch, the branch to be made into a rod which will hang Munachar, because he ate all my blackberries. You won't get me, meow, said the cat, not until you find milk which to give me. And so Munachar came to the cow. He'd been walking for a very long time by now. He was weary and tired, but he was determined, and he said to the cow, Hello, cow. What news today? Said the cow. It's my own news that I'm seeking, said Munachar. I'm looking for a cow to give me milk which I can give to the cat who'll scrape the butter which I can put in the claw of a hound, the hound which will hunt the deer which will swim in the water which will wet the stone which will sharpen the axe which will cut the branch from the tree to make a rod to hang Munachar with. You won't get any milk from me, said the cow, until you bring me that wisp of straw from those threshers yonder. And so Munachar carried on. He came to the threshers. What news today? Said the threshers. It's my own news that I'm seeking, said Munachar. I'm looking for a wisp of straw from you to give to the cow to give me milk, milk that I will give to the cat to scrape butter, butter to go in the claw of the hound to hunt the deer, deer to swim in the water, water to wet the stone which will sharpen the axe which will cut the branch which will make the rod to hang Munachar with, for he ate all my blackberries, every single one of them. Well, you won't get any straw from us, said the thrashers, until you bring us the makings of a cake from the miller over yonder. And so Munachar went to the miller. What news today? Said the miller. It's my own news that I'm seeking, said Munachar. I'm looking for the makings of a cake, some flour to you and me, the makings of a cake which I can give to the threshers to give me a wisp of straw, the wisp of straw I will give to the cow which will give me the milk which I will give to the cat which will scrape the butter which will go in the claw of the hound which will hunt the deer which will swim in the water which will wet the stone with which I'll sharpen the axe to cut the branch of a tree, the branch to make a rod to hang Munachar with, for he ate all my blackberries, every single one blackberry, every single one. You won't get any flour from me, said the miller, until you can bring me a full sieve of water from that river over there. Munachar took the sieve in his hand and he went over to the river. But as soon as he would ever stop and scoop and fill the sieve with water, the moment he had raised it, the water just fell, drop by drop, fell back into the river. He did it again, raised it, filled it, and still the water fell back down into the river. And if he had been there from that day to this, he never would have filled that sieve. At that moment, a crow went flying by him over his head, and the crow called. And in this call he heard the words, "Daub, daub." "Ah, my blessings on you," said Munachar. "It's good advice that you have." And he bent down from the bottom of the river and he took that clay which was at the bottom near the bank, and he rubbed it. He rubbed it on the bottom end of the sieve until all the holes of the sieve were filled. And then the sieve held that water. And he brought the water to the miller. And the miller, he gave him flour, the makings of a cake, and he gave the flour to the threshers, and the threshers gave him a wisp of straw, and he gave the wisp of straw to the cow, and the cow gave him milk, and the milk he gave to the cat, and the cat he scraped the butter, and the butter went into the claw of the hound, and the hound hunted the deer, and the deer swam in the water, and the water wet the stone, and the stone sharpened the axe, and the axe cut the branch of a tree, and with the branch of a tree he made a rod to hang Munachar with. And when he walked ready to hang him, he had found Munachar on the ground, burst, blackberry juice everywhere. And that is the end of the story. Well, it's an odd one, this story. It's I really like it. It's got some really interesting moments in that story. A friend going to hang his friend, but we have to see the comedy in this. Apart from the blackberries which occur in the story, I thought of both Munachar and Manachar. Manachar who ate all the blackberries, and Munachar who spent days probably going from one place to another, looking for that tree, looking for that axe, that stone, the water, the deer, the hound, the butter, the milk, the cow, the thrashers, uh, the flour, the miller, on and on and on and on and on and on. From that initial thought of, you're eating my blackberries, so I'm going to find a rod to hang you with. And wow, how much effort, how much effort took or to go on that epic journey to solve all these things, to find a rod to hang your friend with. And then Malakar had burst anyway. So there's a couple of things. The effort that Munachar spent. It's so easy to get engrossed with or distracted by thought. And that thought propelled him forth and forth and forth, and all his energy he spent going to find those things, to put the puzzle together, to get that tree to offer his branch to him. Was it the right thought? Was it the right action? Did he really turn around and think? Probably not, because it's a tale. But we can really learn from this. Do we think back to what put us on the journey? Can we spend our efforts in a better way? Could we do something else? How do we check that we're going in the right direction? And that thought, which really took over him, that thought of getting that rod to hang Manachar with. It's easy to get these things which percolate in our mind, and we think over and over and over. And he had spent all this time ruminating over this thought, and in the end, well, it was all in vain. You know, it was all in vain, because what he thought he would do didn't turn out. His annoying friend had burst, so he wouldn't ever eat his blackberries ever again, although Munachar didn't get the satisfaction of doing what he wanted to do, so his whole journey was in vain. He had no use for the rod. And how about Manachar? Of that engorged, like completely engorged himself of all the blackberries, and he ate 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 until he became a blackberry himself, burst everywhere. And it's as comedic and as ridiculous that is. How many times do we spend doing the same thing and maybe not knowing where we should stop? And keep on doing it, maybe just to annoy somebody, or keep on eating and putting those thoughts and eating those thoughts, or whatever it is that we are consuming over and over and over until we are consumed by them. And the story for me is about it's about making sure that we don't pick too many blackberries. So we leave some blackberries on the bush. We leave some blackberries for the birds and the insects and other people who may like to forage them. There's definitely something in that. But how about the metaphorical blackberries? Those metaphorical blackberries that we gorge ourselves onto. Do we have an end to those, and do we know when it's a good time to stop? And that metaphorical rod that we need to find, that we go on journey and journey and journey and self puzzle and make everything fit together, and in the end, it's for nothing. Do we think about what set us off on this journey, on this challenge? Are we on the right path? Is there another way? And this story is, for me, about living in the now, in the present. Because if you live in the present, you know exactly when it's time to stop eating the blackberries, when you're full. And if you're living in the present, you know it's getting a little bit ridiculous when you spend days and days looking for the axe to cut down the branch of a tree, and the stone to sharpen the axe, and the deer to swim in the water, and the hound to hunt the deer, and the bit of butter to put in the claw of the hound, and the cat which will scrape the butter, and the milk which the cow will give to the cat, and the straw which will feed the cow, and the thrashers who will supply the straw, and the miller who will supply the flour to make the cake for the thrashers. Yeah, if we live in the present, in the now, then surely all this, as entertaining and as challenging it might be, we can ask ourselves, why? Why am I going on this journey? Am I on the right journey? Am I on the right path? And so these are some of the questions that Munachar and Manachar can help us to decipher for ourselves. And wherever you're listening to this, whatever you do, I hope that you will look for some blackberries, or get some blackberries if you don't have anywhere to pick them from, and enjoy eating them just the right amount for you. So thank you very much for joining me. And if you have enjoyed this episode of the Story Apothecary, then please leave a review, and please find me on social media. I'm on Instagram and Twitter and Facebook. Most of the stuff you'll find on Instagram. I'm at Nana Tomova, and I'm there as the Nana Tomova, the Story Apothecary. And I'll pop that in the show notes. And if you enjoy listening to this podcast, tell a friend, tell them about it, and perhaps share it on social media and tag me in it. And yeah, I'd love hearing about which is your favourite episode, and what you've listened to today, and what you're doing. So please tag me in your in those, and let me know what it is that you've enjoyed about it, or what medicine you have from those stories. And if you are able to, then please consider supporting me on Patreon, which is a monthly subscription. It comes out on the first of the month, and you can pledge as little as £2 a month, or as much as £20 a month. And for every pledge, you get extra content and stories and videos and photographs and folklore and live Q&A sessions if you pledge a little bit more. So have a look, and in this way you'll get to support me in making this podcast possible, as it takes a fair bit of time to record a single episode, and time and effort, and many hours. So I would really appreciate you giving, either through Patreon if you can give money, or giving love as well, and telling people and telling me how why and what you most enjoyed out of this podcast. So I wish you a great rest of the month, and I look forward to welcoming you in the Story Apothecary again very soon. Bye from me. Thank you for joining me in the Story Apothecary for healing and medicinal stories. I hope we'll meet again. Until next time.